Hello, my friends. Welcome to Carpo After Dark. Well, it's been a while since I've made one of these videos. It's a nice evening here in the Portland area. I often want to say Vancouver because I live in Vancouver, Washington, but Portland gives you a better location. When I say Vancouver, people often think of BC. So I walked out in the front here to have a discussion with the camera before I go to bed. My wife is in there watching a show with my kids before they go to bed, and my oldest son is in there playing his acoustic guitar. And I'm pondering life. And I had this thought I wanted to share because it comes up often in my mind and I just never really mention it, but it's kind of one of those universal things where things happen that are so remote, the chances are just so out there, that we can't help but think there must be something going on. In fact, the example I originally had when I came out was, you're about to leave home, and you look over and you see your knife or a multi-tool, something you often don't usually grab, but something tells you to grab it, but you don't. And then you find yourself in a situation where you need it, and you laugh at yourself by saying, I knew to grab that. Now, of course, that can just be chance and circumstance, because we notice those things more than we notice the times that we do have what we need, or the times when we didn't glance at what we needed. But anyhow, my point being that the question that I'm laying out is, are we better off smiling and believing that the universe is looking out for us? Or should we be rational and pick it apart? Because often I've gone both ways on this. You don't want to be a fool and be duped and think that the universe is speaking to you through certain patterns and end up following some path that may lead you down a place you don't want to go, with the mistake of misinterpreting, let's just say, signs in the universe, following 1111, numbered patterns, horoscopes, these types of things. But underneath all of that, there seems to be a knowing that we share as humans, and it's not always there. It just pops in for a visit once in a while. But there are also chance encounters, such as, I mentioned a while back when I went on my trip to the Grateful Dead show. We were 50 miles out either way from any gas station, and I was out of gas in the bus. And as I pulled in the gas station, I ran out of gas and rolled right up to the pump. Hit the brakes as soon as it was at the top of the hill there. Got out, and I was quite literally within an inch of not being able to reach the pump. Now, of course, I could have got a can and filled it up anyway, but the point is, it makes you feel like someone's looking out for you when things like that happen. When it's just so chance. When over a 50-mile distance, you run out of gas at the last inch. It kind of makes you smile. But I guess the best example would be when people call, when you feel like they're going to call, or you think about someone and then they call, or you think about someone and the phone rings and you answer it and say, I know it's you. I knew it was you, and people will chalk that up to chance, and, circumstances will always lead us to see things as patterns and see what we call, like I've said, apophenia, where we see patterns that may not exist, and then we start to see these things accumulating in our life that makes us feel like we're being spoken to. And I guess the question I'm asking is that so dangerous to believe? Sometimes I think that being too logical, too rational can be harmful to us, that it can actually hold us back. Not just as an individual, but as a species. All of us have been too logical for too long. And it seems like we're trying to use logic to answer our problems, and it's only helping half of them. But we still have yearning to understand things around us. Let me put it a different way. When we talk about what sets humans apart from other animals, what we're really talking about, besides our level of consciousness or our organizational or artistic skills or our awareness of death, all these things are true. But that we don't understand our place. It's not what we have that sets us apart from other animals. It's what we don't have. And what we don't have is the ability to be born into this world and do what we need to do to survive. Now, given some of the larger mammals, more complex organisms, they are taught by their parents various tactics and tools to survive. But just as many animals are born into the wild and basically know what to do. They know how to play, to learn to fight, they know how to hunt. The instinct's built in, and they don't have to ask for God's help. They don't have to ask for forgiveness for their failures, because they're doing what they were designed to do, or rather, what nature created them to do. And see, by that very token, I'm saying designed and created. It's very hard to get away from those terms. It's not that I believe in God in the same way as other people, but I believe the unfolding of everything is creation, and within that, there's wrapped up a type of code or energy that we don't comprehend and can't comprehend, but that we tap into once in a while when we're in our flow. Not just our flow state, but when we're just flowing along in life, and everything's going smooth. It feels like we're in the right place at the right time. Should we follow that more often? My friend and I were hanging out today talking, and he's one of my deepest philosopher friends, my buddy Tim, and we were talking about these things, and I sometimes think it's like what exactly is important, in life, and I guess that's a subjective subject. So I'm going to go now. It's late in the evening, and I'm going to go back, join the family, put the kids to bed, and do what a normal person does in this life, or I should say in my life. What I do in my life. I'm not by any means comparing myself to others. It's kind of a joke to me. I don't believe in normal, but the modern happy human, as my friends and I used to joke, because it was an intro we saw on a VCR tape we watched one time in the 80s, and it was maybe the movie company that made it, and it was called Modern Happy Humans, and it was kind of our ongoing joke about the average person, and how we just kind of follow blindly along without really asking questions. And oh, all right, see? I couldn't go quick enough. There had to be a siren. Perfect. Right on cue. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. And let me know what you think about those chance encounters. Let me just tell you this. About 3 years ago, here I go again, right? About 4 years ago, maybe even 5, I was into numbers. Not numerology so much, but I started seeing 1111 everywhere. 555, 444. It started happening so often and in so many random places, not just on clocks, but receipts everywhere, that I wrote down a page in my journal where I assigned each combination of numbers a meaning. 333 was something to be learned. 555 was something to be warned about, or warning. And I thought, well, if the universe is speaking to me through numbers, at least I can make the effort to write it down and say, this is my code. And for a while it was kind of interesting to observe, but I kind of laugh at myself now thinking about it. I thought, well, how is this going to serve me? And so I just let it go, and the numbers went away. And other things have come and gone in my life where I felt like I was connected to the universe in a certain way, and then I let it go due to laughing at myself and saying, okay, you're just being deluded by your own desire to be more in control of yourself and your world, like we all are. There's a psychology behind it. I understand that. So I would let it go. And, after a while I would think, well, maybe, for example, the yogis, those who meditate for long periods of time and claim enlightenment, one may think, well, if we all did that, we wouldn't get anything done. Of course, we need many different types of people. But it leads you to wonder exactly what do people discover in these states and in these places. And I guess to tie this up, now that I think about it, the closest I've ever come to that would be the mystical state of a psychedelic experience when I am in my full zone. But that's another conversation for another time. Take care, everybody. Take care of yourself, and don't let yourself get sucked into the patterns, but sometimes they're quite alluring. I'll talk to you all soon.